Breaking news now from the campaign trail. This is coming into us in just the last maybe hour or two in what's been considered this must-win Senate seat for Democrats this year, one of the most important races in the country come November. And now in Maine, the Democratic candidate there is denying new allegations by a woman who's accusing him of sexual assault. We're talking about Graham Platner. And the allegations come from a 41-year-old woman who now says on the record she dated Platner 5 years ago, telling Politico that Platner forced her to have sex with him despite repeated objections. She adds she did not come forward sooner, in part because she agrees with Platner politically. She told the outlet, "I just want the truth out there." This is her quote. She says, "I just want people to have a whole scope of who he is as a person." In a statement, the Platner campaign tells NBC News the allegations are troubling, serious, and false, adding that any accusation of non-consensual behavior is categorically untrue. Platner's also out with a video statement not too long ago. Let me play a bit of it.
So, regardless of the inaccuracy of the reporting, but mindful of the political reality it will inflict, we are taking the time to reflect on the best path forward for the state that I love, the people that I love, the movement I belong to, and the goal of defeating Susan Collins.
NBC News has reached out to a representative of the accuser for comment. We have not yet heard back. Let me bring in Sahil Kapoor, who's joining us now on this breaking news. Let me take this in a couple of different buckets, as we say, Sahil. And the first one, the new reporting, the accusations themselves, and who this woman is.
Yeah, so Platner's faced a series of controversies so far. This one is different for a number of reasons. This is an on-the-record claim from a 41-year-old woman, Jenny Rassicott, who alleges a sexual encounter in 2021 that was not consensual. She says he came to her place uninvited, forced himself on her. Politico, which first reported this story, says their corroboration is emails to her therapist and messages to an acquaintance warning about Platner. She previously did speak to the New York Times about Platner and their dating history. She says he exhibited reckless and unsettling behavior. Didn't say anything about this, but she says she's now coming forward because A, she didn't want to be known at the time as a rape victim, and second, that the Times story focused primarily on separate accusations that were being challenged because they came from a woman who was a Republican operative. There's also a statement from a progressive influencer, Cheyenne Hunt, to our colleague Natasha Korecki, saying, quote, "With the new allegations of rape and sexual violence that were brought to light, it's absolutely unquestionable Graham Platner is not fit to hold a United States Senate seat or any elected office for that matter," end quote. Platner denies these allegations, but that statement gives you a sense of the pushback and the pressure he's going to be facing to drop out.
A couple more questions for you here, and let me ask you about Platner himself, because we played a little bit of that video statement that has just come out. And again, I realize this is all unfolding just the last little bit here. Obviously, he's maintaining his denials. He also seems to not be ruling out the possibility that he could drop out.
Yes, that's the key part of his statement that stuck out to me. He had a line saying that regardless of the inaccuracy of the reporting, but mindful of the political reality it will inflict. I'm quoting here, "We are taking the time to reflect on the best path forward for the state that I love, the people that I love, the movement that I belong to, and the goal of defeating Susan Collins," end quote. That's Graham Platner for the first time giving an indication that he's considering whether to continue his candidacy, something he has steadfastly done every step of the way in light of all of the previous controversies that have come out. And this is also a big question for his allies and his endorsers, including folks like Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Ro Khanna, who have reached out to all of their offices. None of them have commented so far. And he's going to be facing pressure, or rather they're going to be facing pressure in terms of whether to continue supporting him or pull their endorsement.
Let me pull on that thread, because now to the degree that the Platner campaign, that Platner himself is considering perhaps, and we don't know, but as they say, looking at the path forward, perhaps stepping away from this race, obviously what they hear from allies in the Democratic Party could be a factor there. Do we have any clues yet? Can we read any tea leaves based on some reporting, even behind the scenes, on the sort of explosive allegation that has just come out in the last 90 minutes?
Well, the key date, I think, to circle on the calendar is July 13th, 1 week from today. The reason for that is Maine state law says Platner can still drop out by that date.
By July 13th.
By July 13th. If he does, then the Maine state party can replace him on the ballot. Now, my phone has been blowing up with Platner's critics all along who are in I told you so mode. They thought he had bad character. They thought he was the wrong candidate. Whatever his politics were, many of them disagree with his politics, but that's another story. So what they want him to do is to drop out by July 13th, in which case the state party can pick another candidate by July 27th. Now, this is fraught with all sorts of issues. It would be someone who did not win primary votes. It would be someone who the voters didn't choose. didn't campaign, and it would be kind of a backroom deal situation.
Unless, of course, it's Janet Mills, but she's right. Like,
there's no indication
yeah,
that she wants it. She dropped out, and this is where it's a failure of the progressive wing of the party to fail to pick a candidate without his kind of baggage. It's also a failure of the establishment wing of the Democratic Party to fail to pick a candidate more effective than 78-year-old Janet Mills, who didn't seem to be up for this.
Platner again denying this most recent allegation. We're going to be watching for more updates on this, so come back, I know, when you have more. Thank you, Sahil. Appreciate that.
We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.